This time in the bonus round, we're at QuakeCon 2015 in Dallas, Texas, and talking all about Fallout 4. Todd Howard showed new gameplay only to the attendees. What did we think? I'll chat with Andrew Reiner from Game Informer, Adam Sessler, and Bethesda's Pete Hines about that and more. Hey, welcome back to the bonus round here on GT. I'm Jeff Keighley with Adam, Pete, and Reiner. We are here at QuakeCon in Dallas, Texas, inside, thankfully, since it's only about 105 degrees out in Texas, but nice and cool in the BYOC. And this time we're going to be talking about Fallout 4. Todd Howard was here showing a new demo just to the QuakeCon attendees, Pete, so we don't have any new footage to show people. We can tell you how amazing it was.
Tell them everything you want.
Yes, it looked great, and Todd knew his audience here. He brought a lot of action gameplay, a lot of headshots and things like that. The crowd was riled up against. Let's start with you, Reiner, since you wrote a great story on GameInformer.com. If people want to go there and read it, they should. But we obviously, everyone saw what you guys did at E3, an incredible sort of, 30-minute presentation from Todd about the game. What did you learn that was new about Fallout here at QuakeCon?
Well, there was just so much to digest.
Yeah.
You just felt like your brain was getting throttled by Todd. He was just like, here's this piece and this piece and this piece. We learned about companions.
I know, 12, right?
12 companions.
Yeah.
You can have one with you at a time. Romance options, regardless of gender. And I think it is just humans, right? Like
only humans.
Okay.
No dogs?
So my whole list for Andy, green.
Can't romance the dog?
No robots, no dogs.
There's that, and then they showed off a 10, 11-minute gameplay slice that
the extended clip, yeah. It's about 10 minutes.
Walked through new weapons and new abilities. The special, perk system was unveiled as well. And I don't even know what that is. Like, Todd just kept talking about it, like how dynamic it is. There's gonna be 270 options in there, something like that. So it seems pretty cool, and I kind of like what they're doing with the skills. It seems like they're kind of rolling the skills that were there before into the perks, and then they have it presented on like this kind of map or
like
poster,
right?
Which is kind of like Skyrim, where you would look up to the stars. This is like a very visual graphic that you look at there, where you get to see kind of what you're investing your points in.
But I really like this idea that you see how your skills or your perks are attached to your skill set. I think an issue with a lot of RPGs, you see strength, you see agility, or those, and it seems so distant from what really is the more functional aspect of the game, which is, okay, I have these, I'm putting all my points into these other areas, that you really see that deeper connection. So it's like, okay, I really do want to have just a strength-based character. The fact that there's 270 means I'll just be neurotic. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do at the outset of the game and who I'm going to be. But it was really impressive. I think the part though that really stood out to me was it's the amount of detail that's in the world. Like, you almost don't realize it. 'Cause I think I want to go back and go look at Fallout 3, which obviously impressed me at the time. But just going into a supermarket, there was so much more crap everywhere. In that, when you think about how these games are made, someone actually chose to put that trash on the floor in this virtual world. Yep. And I think it's going to really make the combat more exciting, because instead of just going into a room and just hitting VATS just to figure out who's there in the darkness, you're going to have to position yourself so you have a clean shot. Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of challenge and strategy coming from that.
Pete, there's so much to kind of unpack about this game, and you guys have a condensed campaign, and that you sort of really just start talking about it at E3. What did you guys want? What did you want to add to the story here at QuakeCon for the fans?
I think we wanted to do a couple of things. As we were talking about before, part of the reason to show it just to QuakeCon and not to stream it live is that there are some things the team wants to be able to show that are, in some cases, a little older. There was a little bit more. It wasn't just a straight, all gameplay stuff. So Todd spent more time showing concept art, even some older clips to kind of help people understand how we got to where we are, the process of dialogue, showing really old motion capture stuff and some other things that were part of the process of getting here. And then all of the things that Adam and Reiner are talking about are we want to continue to roll out new info. One of the things about the Fallout universe and the games that Bethesda Game Studios makes in general is they tend not to be about one thing. Skyrim, you might say dragons, but dragons was really only one part of it. There was so much stuff going on in that game, and I think Fallout is a game like that, with perks and companions and your inventory and the loot system and building your own, right? It's all of those things together that make a game like Fallout 4 really interesting and compelling. And so it was to start to peel back some of those additional layers to help folks understand what Special is doing, how they're tied to perks, and how that, as you were talking about, Adam, sort of defining your character by the things that you're picking off of the chart, and showing off, just more extended gameplay where you feel like you get a sense of watching somebody play the game.
Well, obviously, as people know, you guys won a ton of awards at E3. Congratulations on that.
Thanks very much.
Including Best of Show from the Game Critics. Reiner, Todd and his team are obviously known for creating magic with the Fallout franchise. At the same point, you have to manage kind of the tradition of what people want the game to be versus some of the changes they're making. When you look at Fallout now, I mean, is there anything that you wonder about, like the changes they're making? Are people going to respond to those, or do you, like you mentioned, like changing around sort of some of the specials and things like that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you look at it at just one glance and it's like, yes, it's more Fallout, but at the same time they're adding all this stuff to it. Like building your own settlements and stuff like that. I was sitting next to Sessler during the presentation, and we were both just giggling, and it wasn't like funny stuff was happening. It was us giggling like, that's gonna be like 200 hours of me just looting, like
it was
gold
just the
watches off
sound
people.
of like that clicking sound as you're looting someone. I mean, it just triggered this crazy like obsessive compulsive thing where I just wanted to I was like, why aren't you picking that up? Pick that up. Go grab that. That just weird sense of satisfaction that comes out of a game like Fallout. And I played it way back in 2008, but it just brought back all those memories.
I think it's you just
strongly.
remembering those moments and graphing towards like what he's showing now.
It's funny actually when we were in the office and Todd was going through like, okay, here's what I'm planning on showing, and we were doing the gameplay thing, and he loots a couple of containers along the way, but it's really fast. I was like, oh no, wait, what did you get? I want to see like what I get, like because
because you see stim pack, I'm like, oh good,
right?
I need
but
another.
some of those other parts, you're like, no, wait, you went too fast. Pull up your inventory. I want to see what. Yeah, that is a big part of it, and it is one of the things that honestly we also find. I mean, I'm glad people react well to watching it, but you guys know. With RPGs, I feel like more than any other game, I think they're the most difficult games to demo because the joy of playing a role-playing game is you getting to play it like you want. So that somebody like Adam, who wants to go through and I want to pick up every single thing and look at it and figure out, and somebody else who's like, I just want to blow through and shoot stuff and let's get to the combat, or like use VATS all the time versus never use VATS. Like, so when you demo, you're trying to hit this spot of playing kind of almost homogenously so that everybody kind of sort of gets what they want.
And
but
you
the
kind of hint towards
But the
everyone's
real
play
joy
style.
of it is the whole play at your own pace, tell your own story, play the game the way that you want to. So the reaction at QuakeCon is always awesome because people are really excited and they're like heads blowing off and fat man's and stuff. But the real joy of it is when you yourself get to do it and start to piece together who I am and having played the game back at work, the amount of time that I've spent, because I'm super into the weapon customization. Like that's what I spend all my perks and time and energy focusing on, and like looking for the thing in the world that I need to make that new part that I want. Because my story was, I'm gonna find one weapon, and then I was like, okay, I'm all about this weapon. I'm actually not gonna use anything else. I'm just gonna focus on how do I just keep making this one weapon better over and over and over again. Like, what do I have to do, and like, what are the things I need for the next thing I want to add because I need more. Like, I need more range, or I want to, more ammo capacity, or whatever it is. Like, but again, that's like. It meant something to me because that I made the choice, like this is how I want to play the game, and that's where I think a lot of the fun comes from, sort of making it your own as opposed to playing somebody else's.
My heart started fluttering as you were explaining that. Like, yeah, I'm just going to have the best sniper rifle ever.
And to go back to your question, I mean, this is evidence right here. It is still Fallout at its core, right? Yeah, they're changing things, but we've been with Todd, along these adventures for decades now. Yeah, and I think they're going to make the right call for us.
This is where my benefit of the doubt, I'm really confident with it.
Yeah.
Now, the part that I think is going to be interesting, it was very evident in the demo, is they really have improved the real-time combat without going into VATS. But what I did notice is the minute VATS happened, you just heard the crowd just get all excited.
Yeah, I'll get excited.
That
Where are we gonna pick?
even though it sounds like it's going to be a lot more effective as real-time combat, VATS is so intrinsic to the play style, how you're going to encourage people to sort of break out of that.
Well, I'm curious what your reactions were, because we showed more of the VATS and we showed more of the fact that it is intended to sort of keep the pace of combat moving because it doesn't pause. I wonder how much you guys picked up on that during the gameplay, that it's no longer a case of pressing the button and then you can take your sweet time if you've got 6 enemies kind of picking and choosing, that those numbers are changing in real time, that the characters keep moving and shooting at you and attacking it. Did you?
It felt like because I think you naturally sort of already knew where you were going to flick before you pulled that, so it's sort of like that was like you were going in one direction, I feel like. And it's like, I didn't feel like it was...
But some of the enemies, the ghouls in particular, were so much more aggressive. Like they were suddenly in your face much faster than I think they were in Fallout
it felt like,
3.
it didn't feel like it was, you were pausing or you were slowing down. It felt like you were just kind of making a pick.
I know in Fallout 3, like I use it as a crutch all the time. Like when you get swarmed by stuff, like you press it and like, all right, just give me a second, and like there's, to your point, when you have some of these really aggressive, particularly the ones that come in swarms, like it isn't that safety net of like, let me figure out what's going on. Like, well,
and they're still moving. You're not stopping time. You're just slowing it down.
Yes, everything's still moving. If somebody's shooting at you, they're still shooting at you. You will be taking damage
but it
while
is
you're
slowed, right?
It's slowed, but it doesn't stop. So if somebody's in the process of shooting you, when you go to VATS, you're still getting hit by bullets.
So what I love is
like
the team even thinking they're tweaking about like how slow is too slow, how fast is like those kind of things where there's like a whole meeting about like how much do we slow it down.
And it does. I mean, real-time combat has its own sort of frenetic feel, and I think they've spent a lot of time, talking to Todd. They spent time talking to guys at Machine Games and id and all of our other studios about the feel and the responsiveness of just trying to push it to feel like a really good shooter. But the way that the VATS stays with that, because you've got a guy you want to shoot but he's going behind cover, and like you got to hurry up and make a decision because that body part is about to drop from 64% to 0 when it goes.
Right. Oh, I see now. So you realize. So I guess at some point things will disappear because you'll lose that in real time.
Right. So as they're moving in real time, if somebody's running behind a column, like you can't just take your time picking a body part. Like you need to go up because he's moving the whole time, and those percentages will change as they go behind.
It'll change as you're in.
Oh yeah. Well, if you watch the while they're moving, even when the arm, like if the arm is running, when it goes behind their torso, you lose it, and then when it comes back up, so when if they're running towards a car or the side of a building, like you gotta hurry up and take your shots because he's gonna get the cover before you've aimed him up. So you didn't even pick that up, but like that actually does sort of add to the urgency, even in VATS, that you gotta kind of keep going.
One move that I saw tied to the melee was, I think it was a ghoul he was going against. He dropped him to all fours and then executed him.
That was a finishing thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's like a new thing that's being added?
You know how VATS has like the kill cam, the kill shot for range stuff, right? Like you do the boom, 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 and then the one that takes them out, you get the awesome finish. That's the awesome finish for the melee. Like the you VATS'd them, and the one that's going to take them out, you knock him down, and then you chopped his head off.
Well, also, if I'm right, the ghouls, you were shooting off their arms, and they were still coming at you. I don't recall that you could dismember, and they were still an active enemy in Fallout 3. You guys remember?
I don't know. Really?
Yeah.
I
thought it was really cool. It got me excited.
That's what's fun, right? It's like the dismemberment, but it doesn't take them out. So it's like
it just seems so pathetic and hopeless. They're like, I don't have arms. I'm still coming at you. I'm just going to chew on you.
Well, there's one that's on the ground. I don't know if you're at the end. That there's the one that's on the ground. He's got no legs, but he's still down and has health, and he had to finish him off with the.
It's like you got a lot of heart there, Ghoul, man.
That's what it is. Just like it's just so fun to think of you guys back at the office playing through all this. And Pete, the game is coming in November. So I mean, are you playing through the full game right now?
Oh yeah. I mean.
Wow.
Not to over exaggerate, but the game is essentially done. Right. When you talk about like what else are you doing, like all we're doing is taking what exists and polishing it and fixing bugs, and like November, and you guys know how this works. Like it's not like you work till November 9th and then November 10th it's out. Like you have to make discs and you have to do all this other stuff. So
people can officially be jealous.
They are finishing the game. That's all they're doing this summer is just finishing the game. Making sure the frame rate is good and bugs, but it's just that. It's not like what other features should we add or we need some more guns.
When Todd was on Stage 3, he basically, you knew the game, you probably played through the game, and it's like, this is the game.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the benefit. And look, you can't do it with every game to say, well, 5 months, 6 months before it comes out, we're going to let people know it exists. But with a game like Fallout, we felt like we could, and it's got the added benefit of we can show you in a way that represents the final game. Like this is what this feels like, not like explain it or show you a screenshot or a short clip.
Or this might change, or the system might change.
Here's the whole thing.
Amazing. All right, well, Fallout 4 coming this November. We cannot wait. Thanks for the sneak peek here at QuakeCon, and we will be back next time with more right here in the bonus round.